Hello guys, and welcome to another Secrets of the Synth. In this video we're going to be looking at the ways we can import a sequence into the FA-06 and how to take a note sequence and turn it into a drum track. You will want to watch this and the subsequent video because we can't make them too long. In the first one we are going to show you how to do this through the MIDI cable, and then in the second one we are going to show you how to do it using the flash card. So there's many different ways to get it done, and there's also many different ways you can program your drumming in the wonderful FA-06. Notice we only have one track used, and all the MIDI channels are playing from this one track. So the track contains multiple MIDI channels and they are coming out via the USB, and they're going into this USB to audio MIDI converter, and they're coming out there on the MIDI on that bright red colored MIDI out cable. They're then going into this multi-timbral sound module. Now you've seen this setup many times before, but what we're examining today is how we can get these multiple MIDI channels into our beloved Roland FA-06 without having to use the flash card at all. This is a new method that will work for many people and be of great usefulness in your music production. Notice there that we're using at least 4 channels. The big question we're dealing with today is what and how is the drumming being produced? Well, the drumming is always produced in our synths and sequencers as a stream of MIDI notes on a particular channel. Do not fool yourself. Even in the FA-06, when we go and we select the rhythm section and we press one of those drums and it starts to play, it's just a stream of MIDI notes on a particular channel. Now what has happened is that in our Roland D110 we have those MIDI notes mapped to specific drum sounds, like the bass drum, the snare drum, the hi-hats, as well as the crash cymbal. So if we export this sequence into our FA-06, all we will need to do is put it on the right MIDI channel and translate the various notes to the ones that will produce the particular sounds that we want of the drumming in our FA-06. The first thing you do is to go from the MIDI out of your audio MIDI interface into the MIDI in connector of your FA-06 7 or 8 with a standard 5-pin MIDI plug. The second thing you do is to access the options project, options for your project within your DAW. Then you look for sync, S-Y-N-C, and you notice that listed under send MIDI sync you have transmit, MIDI, start, continue, stop and clock. You tick that. And you also want to transmit the MIDI song position pointer, SPP. Now once you activate those two, once you're transmitting MIDI, start, stop, continue and clock along with the song position pointer, you have done all you need to do in your DAW. The next thing you do is bring up your sequencer and you go to the song utility and you clear the song. Select song clear to clear your sequencer. Ready to receive the song from your DAW via the MIDI cable in real time. The next thing you do is to press the menu button, select the system option, and make sure that you have selected the sync tempo tab. Notice you have all these different tabs. Starting from general, you come across, you select the sync tempo tab, come down to the sync mode option and press the enter button and move the sync mode to slave and press select and exit. Cancel and you're back in your sequencer. Now the instant you do that, your tempo will disappear and you'll just see 3 dashes on your tempo because you have selected slave, which means that you will be in an externally triggered mode. You now press the record button on your sequencer and make sure that the loop switch is off. Make sure they're all off. All the switches are off. But notice that if you try to press the start, nothing happens. And up here, notice where my finger is pointing, up here you see an orange standby. You come back onto your DAW and all you do now is to start your sequence playback. So you press whenever you're ready. Now it doesn't sound right and you don't have to be bothered about the tempo. You don't have to concern your head with the tempo or how it sounds. All you do is make sure that the position is correct. See where it's 10? Look over on your recording as it takes place and you will see the bars will perfectly match up. This is being recorded into your sequencer in perfect synchronization so that when you're finished, every note will line up in its respective bar. And the recording is taking place on all 16 channels of your MIDI if you've used 16 channels. In this case, I've only used about 4 of them. When your song sequence is finished playing, it will automatically stop. And your sequencer in the FA-06 will also have already stopped. It will stop and you will notice the bars indicate all the tracks of all the channels and MIDI information that you had in your DAW. What remains to be done now is to go back into the system menu and switch it back from slave to master. The instant you do that, your tempo will be back on your workstation. Now at this point in time your song will not sound right because random voices are assigned to all the various tracks, and even though we have used track 10, which is normally the drum track, the notes are not triggering the correct drum instruments. As you listen to it here now, you will hear exactly what you heard before. So what you need to do now is to assign the instrument voices that you want to the various parts, and in the case of the drum track, you have to match the instruments to the notes. Okay guys, here's how it sounds after selecting a nice bass for the bass track, honky-tonk piano and clavinet or clavichord or whatever they call it, and adjusting the levels in the mixer. We have the drums muted right now because we haven't finished with the drums. We just want to see you how you progressively organize music between the mixer, and we're using standard tones that come, stock tones that come with the FA-06. Listen to it now. So what we really need to do is to go into the studio set play mode by pressing the dual and split buttons simultaneously. Now if we hold down the shift button in the studio set play mode, we see that we have tone edit over here, and we make sure that we have part 10 selected as the active part, as you can see, and that we have the highlight on the tone kit for part 10, which is the drums. So when we press tone edit, as you can see, we are now in the tone edit mode where we're dealing with the rhythm kit. So what happens is that up top here you can see that we can move the cursor between the actual note number and the tone associated with it. So all we need to do is to reassign a different tone to the particular note number and then save that kit in the user memory. 60 is note number 60 is supposed to be the crash cymbal. So we rotate the wheel until we reach 60. There we are. And we see that it's going to a high bongo. We don't want that, so we move that over there, and now we look for the crash cymbal. We set it to 17, the standard 16-inch crash cymbal, as you can see there. And we've already done and made the assignments for the note numbers that correspond to the hi-hats, close hi-hats, open hi-hats, and the kick drum, as well as the floor and mid-toms. So when we've done all of that, the only thing now to do is to exit, and now we want to save the kit. Press the right button, and we move the arrow down till it reaches tone. Then we go select, and as you see, I already have Steven's kit, but if not, you could just choose a number. There are lots of numbers to choose from. You have 8 kits. You can have up to 8 kits. And once you have got what you want, you press right, and it's saved. And our whole composition sounds as it did, or very similar to how it did on our D110. watching, and please subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be notified of future videos, and we'll see you in the next video.